So guys, today we will be comparing the S24 Plus to the S22 Ultra here. This was a pretty interesting comparison that I see in the comments a lot because you are going to be giving up, a few things if you do decide to make this upgrade with the S22 Ultra. And it's not all bad. There are some very good, things about the S24 Plus. And like I said, the price has come down on the S24 Plus quite a bit, so it is, a bit more affordable than it used to be. One of the biggest, kind of, I guess, downgrades you'll be doing, and it really depends on if you actually use the S Pen. We know that the S Pen is, you can do your digital artwork or just use it to navigate with, or you can just, it has that Bluetooth functionality. So if you are someone, you take pictures from a distance or video, if you use your phone for content creation, it's very useful for that. But if you don't use it, then it just makes even more sense to make this upgrade if you don't really care about it. As far as the hardware, it's very similar. IP68 dust and water resistant on both, glass and metal design on both. We have that matte finish. The cameras look pretty similar as well. Where these phones will actually differ, and I will say this is something that I personally like. I do like how the S24 feels in the hand compared to the S22 Ultra. It's not as boxy, and it just feels a lot more comfortable. And it is a slightly smaller phone, even though the S24 Plus is a bit bigger of a phone. It's a little bit more manageable than the S22 Ultra. So it's pretty good in that regard, but I think that's pretty much it for the hardware that you pretty much need to know here. The screen upgrade is also pretty solid on here as well too. And we do have on the S24 Plus a dynamic LTPO display. It's 120 Hz HDR10 plus, 2600 nits peak brightness, and it is 6.7 inches, 1440p, 513 for the PPI. It does have slightly slimmer bezels at around close to 92% screen to body ratio, and it is a completely flat panel, which a lot of people prefer these days. They prefer the flatter panels over the curved display. And the S22 Ultra still has a pretty good display. It's a slightly bigger 6.8 inch display, dynamic AMOLED, 120 Hz HDR10 plus, 1750 nits peak brightness, also a 1440p display, 500 for the PPI. The main differences you'll notice between these two displays, I think, is going to be if you're outdoors in direct sunlight, the S24 Plus is noticeably brighter. And then also, the flat display, that is something that I know a lot of people, the industry has kind of moved on from these curved panels. But yeah, one thing that you can't quite get the same look of the colors on the S24 Plus, even if you turn the vividness slider on. The S22 Ultra has that more kind of vivid, vibrant look, that I really like. Besides that, I think that's pretty much it. Those are kind of like the main upgrades here. Slightly slimmer bezels. You also have a flat display and it's a little bit brighter. But as far as the quality goes, they're both 1440p displays. They both have pretty much the same PPI, so they look pretty similar when you are looking at them. So the performance is overall a pretty good upgrade. So this is probably your biggest kind of upgrade here. So the S24 Plus has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. We get 7 years of majorOS updates starting with Android 14. Both of these are on Android 15 or One UI 7. You have 256 gigs, 12 gigs of RAM, base model. This one you have the 8 Gen 1, 128 gigs, 8 gigs of RAM on the base model. And you can see the single and multi-core scores. You're just getting a much better score, of course, on the S24 Plus. But it's not necessarily the score difference. It's really that the S24 Plus, it manages heat a lot better and it doesn't get as hot as the S22 Ultra. I would say if you're a lighter user or just social media, web browsing, just normal stuff on your phone, the upgrade, besides battery life, you won't notice in performance that big of a difference. But if you are someone who's a heavier user, then you should notice performance immediately if you do a lot of multitasking and a lot of just gaming, I guess, and video editing maybe on your phone, just stuff like that. As your eyes, you just can see the 3D Mark scores. We get almost 30 frames and we get 12 frames on the S22 Ultra. And then we see the battery was a lot more stable on the S24 Plus as opposed to the S22 Ultra here. And yeah, so overall performance is going to be a lot better on the S24 Plus. So if we do kind of, let's just back out of these. If we do kind of open up apps and kind of look at animations, you can see they're pretty similar. The S22 Ultra actually runs One UI pretty well. So when you're going into your just normal application stuff like that, it's not gonna feel that much different. Honestly, that's why I said you have to kind of be more on the power user kind of side of things here. Like you might get into a game, just a little bit quicker. But I would say the biggest thing here is really like, again, the S24 is managing heat a lot better than the S22. But as you guys see, general performance, casual use, really not that much different. It's not like the S22 is lagging or anything like that. Feels exactly the same. Feels extremely similar. If you are someone that does, competitive kind of mobile gaming, of course we're going to get better frames here. And again, the heating is going to be much better on the S24 Plus. The S22 Ultra still able to play 90 frames, still, pretty decently smooth here. So no issues at all. But if we do play games for a longer time, it'll really hit the battery life, and we could run into some performance problems. I've never run into performance problems because I'm not like a actual kind of competitive mobile gamer. But yeah, it's just something that if you play emulator, just across the board, emulators, video editing, performance is going to be a lot better here. You can see we're at 120 frames on the S24 Plus. So like I said, if you're a heavier user, honestly, this is a pretty solid upgrade. If not, you really won't notice too much of a difference besides the kind of like battery draining and the heating. But so I would say even that right there could be a good reason to upgrade if you just don't want to deal with like your phone feeling hot. Go ahead and check out these max speaker volume. Alright guys, so basically the S24 Plus does have a slightly stronger speaker. There's a lot more bass presence with the S24 Plus. The S22 Ultra, it's not a terrible speaker. It does sound decent. It just does sound a bit flat. It's kind of one of my, kind of biggest complaints about this phone. The speakers are just a little bit flat sounding for me. But yeah, so both phones have the Galaxy AI. They both have the Circle to Search and the updated Gemini. But you will have more features, and down the line you'll get more, Galaxy AI features. You can see pretty similar until we get to like the bottom here. You can see the not draw and assist, but audio eraser, photo ambient wallpaper. So not all the features are on the S22 Ultra, but a lot of the essential ones that a lot of people would use are here. So that's pretty good. And as far as the fingerprint scanner, they both have the ultrasonic, so they don't feel that much different in my opinion. Yeah, they don't really feel that much different. Talk about the cameras here. So you will kind of be losing your zooming capabilities here if you do move to the S24 Plus. You have a 108 megapixel standard on the S22, 10 megapixel telephoto, 3 times optical, then another 10 megapixel periscope telephoto, and that is 10 times optical, 12 megapixel ultra wide. You can shoot in 8K 24, 40 megapixel selfie, can shoot in 4K 60. The S24 Plus has a 50 megapixel standard and then a 10 megapixel telephoto, 12 megapixel ultra wide. It can shoot in 8K 24 and 30. 12 megapixel selfie can shoot in 4K 60. As you guys can see, you can only go up to 30 times zoom now. So it just really depends if you kind of take advantage of the zoom shots. But check out these side-by-side stills and video. As far as the battery life goes, guys, the battery performance is a lot better on the S24 Plus. They pretty much have the same size battery. It's a 5,000 on the S22, 4,900 on the S24. But because of the chip efficiency, guys, you're getting much better standby time. So it's something that I've noticed. That's kind of like my biggest complaint with the S22 Ultra. It kind of drains when you're not really using it. But as a lot of user, I took this thing to Vegas. I was able to get a full day out of it. I didn't really have an issue with it. But if you are someone like running GPS and gaming and just doing more intensive stuff on your phone, you can drain this phone pretty easily. And like I said, it can get a little bit warm. The S24 Plus does not have that issue. Standby time is great, and the screen on time is very good as well too. So the overall battery life experience for me has been a lot better actually on the S24 Plus. But yeah, so they both have the same charging speeds, 45 watts, same wireless and reverse wireless charging speeds as well. Let me know what you guys think.